Welcome to another BasedBellagio video. Today we're going to discuss Dwarf Fortress. This game has been around for 20 years in development, and it just had its official Steam release to help make the game more accessible to wider audiences, better graphics, better UI, and the release is amazing.
Something wrong, Patrick?
This video is going to be kind of a semi-review, but really I want to focus on the differences between Rimworld and Dwarf Fortress. I am always hearing people make comparisons on Twitch, on Reddit, in chats around the internet, that Dwarf Fortress is a Rimworld copy. And quite the contrary, Rimworld is a Dwarf Fortress copy, an inspiration. And 9 out of 10 Rimworld fans will love Dwarf Fortress. But there are some little differences. To start out, Rimworld is a great video game. It is a better video game than Dwarf Fortress. Dwarf Fortress is a better simulation.
Could our reality actually be an incredibly detailed simulation?
A better world storytelling event game. Rimworld has an AI system that you choose as a storyteller that will throw you curveballs in your game. Whereas Dwarf Fortress is a simulated world with other factions that have needs and wants, with other monsters, creatures, random people, poets, all living in a world. In Rimworld, when the AI throws enemies at our colony, we all muster our defenses. Every Rimworld colonist fights unless they're not able to if they're pacifists. You deal with the threat, you adapt, you build better defenses and move on. Dwarf Fortress, the game will organically throw you realistic curveballs and events in a fantasy world. For example, my fort was founded in an area filled with fruit trees as far as the eye can see, and a beautiful, bountiful river filled with fish that most of them are lungfish, and they jump out of the river into my dwarves' arms. Fish as far as the eye can see walking around the ground.
Put it back! I'm gonna starve!
This would be an idyllic place to survive, normally. But because of all this abundance, there are giant Volkswagen bug-sized birds that are menacing my dwarves, stealing my dwarfish kids, and raiding my food supplies on top of it. When I mustered up a militia, sent them after these birds to defend my dwarves, took a lot of beatings and bruises, but we eventually killed these 2 giant birds, one of them being a legendary named bird. As soon as they were gone, that left a power vacuum in the area. Imagine living in a region of the savannah, and the apex predators are 2 giant lions, and you just took them out. That leaves a power vacuum for maybe hyenas to move in. Well, in my game, even bigger birds showed up. Giant, the size of houses.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Showed up and are now causing even more of a mess. The difference here is Rimworld is a vacuum outside of your screen. Your walls of the map, your fortress, everything is happening to you on this screen. Whereas these giant birds in Dwarf Fortress might have come from off map, might have come from a different part of the woods. And now that the original menace has been dealt with, a new apex predator has moved in. Even down to the personalities, thoughts, and traits of individual creatures. Even fish in Dwarf Fortress have a personality. The entire game is a working simulation. Rimworld, the setting is in the future, space travel, guns. Rimworld has much better combat, we'll say. But once you get into Dwarf Fortress, I am liking the combat better in Dwarf Fortress. But Rimworld is more gamey, in your face, grab the guns, let's go shoot, set up the turrets, set up the tower defense. Whereas Dwarf Fortress, you might set up all these tower defenses now above ground to combat these birds. I might build archer towers, set my militia to patrol these areas with crossbows or bows, and then we might get another enemy. We're digging our mines. Remember, Dwarf Fortress has Z levels. Rimworld has one level, X and Y axis. But Dwarf Fortress has a Z axis, Z levels. So you might be digging deeper and deeper. You might have breached a cavern and now demons are coming out of it. Gnomes are coming out of it. Goblins are coming out of it. You might have taken the extreme measure of cutting down every tree in the forest to combat these birds. But now what? Now you don't have any fruiting trees or, fruit coming down. But because you've cut all the trees down, maybe the game has a local elf faction. The elves, they get upset when you cut all the trees down. So now they send a raiding party. They destroy you even worse than the birds did.
Know your place, Thalmor scum.
These are all emergent gameplay events that happen because of what you're doing, and it's not quite as randomized or AI driven, just curveballs, I call it. This is from the start of your fortress to the end of your fortress. Whatever happened in your game is a direct correlation to things that you've done, tasks that you've made your dwarves do. And I find that amazing. Now going forward, Rimworld is just one game, a colony survival game with many great gameplay mechanics in it, DLC, things to do. Dwarf Fortress has 3 separate games in it, and even a 4th one if you count arena mode when it comes out. You have the Fortress mode, which is like your Rimworld style colony simulator, where in comparison, Rimworld, you might have a maximum of 20 colonists when it's all said and done. Maybe 15 to 20. Whereas Dwarf Fortress, you have 150 to 200 dwarves in an endgame fort on average. Your dwarves are a lot more expendable. They are like a mix between super strong, super tough, and super story-driven lemmings. Whereas your colonist in Rimworld, if you lose your head researcher and none of your other people can read, you're pretty much screwed. Whereas the dwarves, they will adapt, they will dabble in things, Your master carpenter gets killed by the giant bird. Other peasants will come in and start dabbling in the carpentry arts. They might become masters someday. The other modes in Dwarf Fortress are Legends mode, which is an amazingly cool story creating mode, I call this. This is just what I call it.
Alrighty then.
But when you start Dwarf Fortress, you start by generating a world filled with history, artifacts, people, all unique, all procedurally generated. Events happen, big wars, big events wrapping around artifacts, people conquering worlds and civilizations off of a silver goblet that's named. Different things happen. Now, Legends mode, you can go in and view all the events in a really cool system now with hyperlinks. And then when you lose a fortress in a world, we lost our colony, you don't have to end that world. You can retire the fortress, and then you can view in Legends mode everything your dwarves did down to the fine granular level of things that they created, gems that they encrusted on a bed, crazy things. How these giant birds, where they came from, we can see the history of them, how they settled in the region. I think it's a really great way to get immersed into your playthrough. Legends mode is awesome. And then you have Adventure mode, which is probably releasing in 2 to 4 months, I'm guessing. Adventure mode in the original game was a completely different game. It was a roguelike RPG where you take control of a singular character in the world. It could be anybody. It could be a rabbit. It could be a moose. It could be an elf, a dwarf, one of your dwarves, other dwarves. Let's pretend that my giant bird-infested fortress is in ruins. We retired it. If Adventure mode was out, we could join the game in Adventure mode, and we could go visit our old civilization, the ruins, the bird poop-covered ruins. and we could go explore and find out what happened and read define the artifacts that my dwarves made, and we can explore the entire map in this RPG setting. I think it's amazing. You pay money for a game, a colony sim, you love it, you learn it, and then all of a sudden another game releases in a few months. Again, if you want to play the original Dwarf Fortress, you could try Adventure Mode right now. And the original Dwarf Fortress had tile sets too, for people that think that the Steam release is super unique. The Steam release brings a new UI, that the UI will go to the original version, also the free version. You get music that won't come with the original version, and you get the graphics, the tile set, which I think is very beautiful. You are supporting the creators when you buy the game for $30. One of the creators has health issues. I don't want to misquote, but it's a situation where this $30 you spend on an amazing replayable game is literally the best GoFundMe you've ever been a part of. So if you want to help the creators, I would suggest buying the game on Steam, but you are able to play the free game in the ASCII version. You know, it's not going to be as pretty as the Steam version, but with a little ingenuity, you could figure out how to put tile sets on it and have some fun. That being said, Rimworld and Dwarf Fortress are vastly similar. They are in the same genre, but they are very different. And I think if you like Rimworld, you will like Dwarf Fortress. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Add to this impromptu review, kind of review of Rimworld vs. Dwarf Fortress. That's what we're going to name the video. Hit that thumbs up button. It helps out more than you know. And share this with a pal. Thank you for watching and subscribe for more good content. Thank you very much.